Go ahead.
My name's Ed Tinker, and this is my friend Ed. And we're just going to talk about um, reproductions, fakes. It goes in line with the Luger book tool we're making, except we're going to be talking just in a general sense. Now, on the forum, we're both on the Luger forum and Jan Still's Luger forum. And as the administrator, when people start talking fakes, I get uh, we don't allow it much. And that's because people want to start naming names and things like that. So
Yeah.
even though I don't have a problem talking about it, it always devolves into something bad. But since this is YouTube, we won't really be discussing names, but we'll probably discuss a few things that I've seen. I know of two guys that were well known, and sometimes they were a little bit iffy, and both of them died. One died a few years ago, and the other one died probably 5 or 6 years ago. Both times, friends that I knew and trusted went and helped with the widow, and they found tools, marking, to put fake stuff on. Very disappointing. Have you
Yes.
experienced that, Ed?
Absolutely. And I had written about fakes, and I had told a story. I had a friend, a dealer, who used to share space with another dealer, and the guy died.
Oh,
And I said to my friend, "Gee, we all do it. What happened to his stuff, right?"
yeah,
And and my friend said, "Well, you just got to be careful. He played with it." Oh, he played with it.
yeah, yeah.
So it was all being auctioned off down here in Florida. There was a Luger, and it looked, I just went by pictures. It looked okay. I said, "It's a shooter. I'll bid $800.
Yeah.
Done." I got the thing home, and it was a Mauser S42 something something, and it was pristine. It was perfect.
Yeah.
So, sometimes, and I think other people didn't bid on it because they said, "Oh, this guy fakes."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I won on that. But I had one of my early examples was there's a fake, there are reproductions, there are misrepresentations,
Yeah.
there's collector ignorance. And
Sure.
I of course have all those things going on. But I was up in Maine, and I saw this wonderful pantograph knife.
Ah.
And oh
Well, I
yeah,
don't understand what is. I saw it, but I don't under. Just tell me about it. Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah,
well, and there you go. Lovely, right? And
yeah.
it's a horseman. It looks good. It's got SS markings.
Yeah.
It's, baloney.
But
It if
usually SS markings are to me an immediate. Now I collect Lugers, and the rifle guys would be different, just because it's a different knowledge and different knowledge base. But when I see SS, I immediately think fake. But there are real
Right.
ones, obviously, right?
No. Yeah. Well, you can't, it doesn't focus. It's got a nice
Yeah,
swastika.
yeah,
I agree. And I saw this, and the collector in me said, the rational person said, fake. I'm fake, reproduction, whatever.
right.
And the collector in me said, "Ooh, you don't really know. It might be okay." So I bought the thing for $60, and it's a fantasy. There was never a knife issued to any German soldier that looked like this. It's a fantasy.
Just
And
recently, I bought a Fairborn Sykes. I didn't quite
oh,
like how it looked, and it was a hundred
whoa, you're a
bucks.
brave man.
Well, I've had a real one, and this one, um, 90% sure it's either late war or after the war, which was okay for 100 bucks. It was an actual
Sure,
fighting
sure.
knife. It was kind of fun, but usually they're 3 or 400 bucks. And we talked about it. It was another dealer. So now you've actually written an article on fakes, haven't you?
Yeah,
And it's on the Blinking Eye, which is a friend of ours.
No, it hasn't been published there yet. And
Oh, okay.
it's still, every time I edit it to tighten it, and I think of more examples. And
The writer's dilemma, right?
so this may just be an ongoing, but I think we've got a number of references. Maybe we can either, link them on the bottom of this or something at the end so that people can find some of the things we're talking about.
Sure.
Um, the Hang on for 1 second.
Well, I've had friends get
My
taken.
screen turns
I
itself off every now and then just for fun.
Yeah.
Um, wait. Um, what I was saying, what I was getting at was that I have bumped into fakes every which way. Now I'm going to show you something a little bit outside of our in collecting
Good.
interests.
Oh, what
This
is it?
is often
Is it a little
sold.
cannon or something? Ah, 'cause
Well,
I only
it's
guessed that because you
you
had
see
told
it
me.
on you see it on eBay
Yeah.
occasionally, and they call it a medieval hand cannon. It
Uh-huh.
isn't. What this is, well, a thunder mug or a noisemaker. They used to load it with powder,
Yeah.
and it has a little lip here,
Oh, I see.
a
Yeah.
lip, and it just like a flintlock. You'd have a little powder here, and they would light it, and it would be a firework.
Ah,
And if
sure.
you see, sometimes you see old engravings, 1700s, 1600s, where they've got these over bridges, hundreds of them, big ones too.
Yeah.
And this is a real early cannon.
Oh, okay.
And the difference, the tell is, you see the base,
Uh-huh.
I'm not used to it. One has a base, so it doesn't, this one has a base
Yeah.
so it doesn't tip over. This one is meant to be mounted on a wooden stop.
That's small, huh?
Oh yeah,
Huh.
yeah. And this one has, of course, the lip with the. Now, if you had this on a wooden stock, it wouldn't work very
Right.
well.
Yeah.
So, and these are things that, it's very specialized and it's easy to see. I thought it was a cannon. I bought this at a not take sale, an outdoor boot um,
Sure. Sure.
flea market in Connecticut. And then I got it home and I examined it closely. I did some research and oh no. But it's sort of a fun thing anyway.
Well,
Um,
I like bringbacks. Obviously, I've written 4 books on bringbacks, or at least
yeah.
an editor of them. And I bought a um, it was in a box and it had a label on it. It was a nice little pistol and it was kind of weird. And I thought maybe it's a tool room example because a lot of stuff was taken from Mauser and things like that.
Yep.
So I'm at my table, and a well-known collector that I know had walked by, and he started talking to me, and he knows everything. I mean, but he's not cocky about anything. And he looks at it and he goes, "Oh, that's a gas pistol, blah 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 blah, made in the 30s." And I was a little bit deflated. I resold it for what I paid for it, a couple $250, I think. I should have kept it because it was neat, but I was a little bit disappointed, and I didn't have a lot of extra money. I was at the Reno show, I think, with Dwight. And so anyway, I sold it, but it's knowledge is everything. But we all get taken, and I think a lot of young collectors don't realize that even though we are fairly knowledgeable, we can all get taken by something. And then the
Yeah.
real fakes. I mean, Dwight's writing a book on the commercial Lugers, and he's bought a couple
Oh,
that
finally,
he was
great.
sure they were
Wonderful.
fake, and he stuff like from Argentina and stuff. And there's real Lugers that went there, but it's just there's some stuff is designed. They're fakery, true fakery.
There's malicious fakery. There is, well, I just want to say Bashford Dean was the founder of the Arms and Armor Department at the Metropolitan Museum in New York.
Hmm.
He had a beautiful house up in Riverside, which now belongs to the city of New York, and he had an armory, and
Uh,
he had a wall with his fakes. Everything that he bought with that faked him out, he refused to get rid of it to remind him.
sure, sure.
And I mean, but that's the Mets sold off all their collection of fakes some time ago, and they still are upset because it was a study collection,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Well, and there's a fine line there. I've bought a couple. I paid shooter prices, like you were talking about. I have bought stuff that um, the average person, the Death's Head Lugers and things like that, and I've seen people spend big bucks for them. The one that gets me, of course, is the chrome or nickel Luger that was made for the Navy. I mean, no way, they just weren't. And I'm not saying that nickel wasn't used, but it wasn't on Lugers, not for that. And I was at a
No.
gun show this is many years ago, and there was a guy, and I go, "Oh, you have a Luger?" And we started talking. He says, "I just bought it." I said, "Oh, what is it?" And he says, "It's a Navy Luger. You can tell because it's chromed." And I was like, I was younger,
Oh,
and I just kind of blurted out, "They didn't make any of those." I said, "How much did you pay?" 2,500 bucks, and this is at least 20 years ago. So
yeah.
I said, "You need to see if you can get your money back," because, and I have heard the Navy Luger and stuff being chromed. There were real Navy Lugers, obviously, but they weren't chromed or nickeled. And
No,
so it's just it's frustrating things like that out there.
it is.
And what
And
do you do with it was my main point. What do you do with it if you have a fake? Do you strike out the Argentine crest or whatever? Do you? Uh, it's a lot of money for people if they even if they paid twelve
no,
hundred bucks for something. That's a lot of money for most people.
I had bought back in the day. I collected everything, but I collected swords, American swords. And there was a fellow in St. Louis, Missouri, who had a company called House of Swords and Militaria, and he sold fakes. The son of, I won't curse, the guy imported them from Spain,
Yeah,
and they were manufactured. And I bought a dragoon saber. I bought three swords, as I recall.
yeah,
And I remember sitting in my downstairs and cleaning the blade. And after I got the grease off, it said Hancho and España. And you son of a what? And then I looked but here's the thing, Ed. I knew when I had a what do you call it? A U.S. Navy cutlass. I knew it
yeah,
was fake. I looked at it. I saw the wrapping was wrong, but I
yeah.
said, "Well, you never know."
Sure.
And I was so angry. I called the FBI.
Yeah,
Like, and I said, and I finally got an agent on the phone, and he listened to me fulminating, and he said, "Look," he said, "you call the guy up, tell him they're fakes. He'll give you your money back. It ain't worth getting the postal inspectors involved."
yeah, yeah,
And I did, and that was the end. And the thing that really irked was Mowbray over at Man at Arms, the
yeah.
old man before he died. I complained to him, and he said, "Oh, we all knew that." And I said, "But," and he said, "But we didn't want a lawsuit, so we didn't say anything."
Sure.
And
Well, it's
I,
like I said about the forums. I mean, I'm an admin and stuff for it, so I mean, I don't own the, but you don't want the bad reputation of
no,
anyway. It's just it's really frustrating. The Japanese stuff, katanas, they have been faked and brought in from China and of course, I don't know, Afghanistan, places like that. But the Chinese ones have been faked where they've gotten really good over the last 25, 30 years, which is just a shame.
Nazi, these are the things I walk away from. Anything not, particularly if it has Adolf Hitler's name on it,
Sure.
fake. Confederate,
Yeah.
Japanese, mainly because I know nothing about it, and the original sources are in Japanese, so on and so forth. and it's not worth it. There's a
Yeah,
guy named Bill Guthman who he died about, oh gosh, 15, 20 years ago. And he was an expert in Americana and American, like a revolutionary and pre-revolutionary weapons. And very nice guy, lived in Westport, Connecticut. And he wrote an article, and the name of the article was I Should Have Known. I've been trying to get a hold my hands on this. He was one of the most, he wrote a book on powder horns. I mean, really esoteric stuff.
yeah.
And he went to a show and he found an artillery sword, a Confederate artillery sword, and he bought it. And at the time, he said, I knew it was wrong, it was bad. But it was such a good deal, and it might be good.
Yes.
And he bought it,
Convinced
brought it
himself.
home, and I figured, if Bill Guthman could get fooled.
Sure.
Also, another quick story. I had mentioned Bashford Dean, who was the curator of Arms and Armor at the Met. He had overseen the purchase and installation of the Severance collection of Arms and Armor in Cincinnati, in Ohio. I think it might have been Columbus. And recently, last 10 years, they took the collection down and cleaned it, and half of it was fake.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you see, back in the day, there were no rules about curators wearing two hats. And in
Yeah.
arm, it's one of the reasons I stopped collecting armor. The people were, I mean, very knowledgeable people and very prominent people were engaged in selling fakes that
Uh,
happen, and they would put their name on it. I just want to show you this book, How to
yeah.
Tell If It's a Fake. And it's by Harold Peterson, who worked for the
Yeah.
National Park Service and expert. I mean, wonderful guy. He wrote a book, The American Sword, which is, even if you don't collect swords, is a fun book.
Yeah.
American. And in this book, he makes the point there are people that do it for fun, and they will work their behind off. They will make something that they'll put in more money than they could ever hope to get out of it, but they just want the joy.
Yeah. Well, you and I were talking
And
about that. I have a
yes,
Navy Luger that's a Simpson. They didn't make anything like that, but I wanted a 6-inch barrel and I had a frame and I had a toggle. Not gonna try to cheat anybody, but I worry a bit 20
yeah,
years after I'm dead.
I I bought a suit of armor from Peter Finer, very noted dealer in England. And the laminations, the lames, they call it on the fingers. It's like one, multiple pieces of steel, and they articulate, so you can go like that.
Sure.
And those are often missing. They were missing, and I bought the suit of armor. He said, "Well, I've got this 17th century breastplate, cost $200 because it was all rusty." He gives it to his armorer, who cuts out pieces of metal and made new new
Uh,
gauntlets. In 50 years, they're original.
sure. Sure.
And they do neutron bombardment on the metal. And they say, well, I mean, if it's got cadmium, if it's got these various heavy alloying materials, it's modern. The steel isn't modern. The steel's
Right.
300 years old. So
Right.
bombard away. It's
Yeah.
authentic.
I was in
And
the Netherlands and there was an antique shop that was right there in Nut. I was at a military base and Nut was where we lived. And they refinished oak furniture. And that happens in America too. But they would bang it with chains to make it look old. But they had refinished it and then they would bang it up. And
yep,
that was a
I've
thing
heard
for
of
a
that.
while. People wanted very nicely finished, but with a few scars on it.
And
So,
and the fact is, one of the conceit, another thing that sort of irritated me about the armor business was people would say, well, if you're a connoisseur, you know, you can tell. And that's bull. It's just bull because the people today are every bit as knowledgeable and skilled as craftsmen 400, 500 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if they want to, there's a guy named Landis. They've made a movie about him, and it was called Art and Craft.
Oh,
And what Mr. Landis did, he's still alive. He's a very accomplished artist. He's very good. And what he would do is he would take a print of some famous where you know a, a Leonardo, and he would glue it onto a canvas and with a hot air gun, dry it on so it had the grain, and he
yeah.
would go over it and change it slightly, right? And
Yeah.
then he would go to a small museum, like we have the Ringling Museum here in Sarasota. Not, this is not they've got a wonderful collection, but it's not a world-class museum. And he'd go
Right.
in and he'd say, my sister died. She loved your museum. She traveled a lot in Europe. She wanted you to have this. And the curator, if he knew anything, would go, whoa, and take it. He never charged a penny.
Oh,
Oh, and the
huh.
thing that I love about it is sometimes he'd dress up as a priest. And and these things are all over the country. For my wife's birthday, I got a picture of us, sent it off to Mark. I paid him $100 if it, and he made an original Mark Landis picture, oil painting of me and my wife.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Well, it's
fun,
like
but
you said, some
he did
things are
it for
done for fun,
fun.
but I worry about 20 years later or whatever.
20
Funny
now
stuff.
I bought this and it's been on the Jen Still site and we've had all sorts of arguments. The marks are atypical. It's it's got a 1918 and stamp 1921. All of the serials all throughout the gun are correct. Is it right? Is it good? I mean, I've had people telling me, it's a fake. But I mean, who?
Well, after World War One, you could buy a Luger in almost any barrel length, and there
Yeah,
are a lot of people that forget that. I mean, I've got
right.
ads that says you can get a 3 inch, a four, and I mean, we're talking up to 20 inches. And
Yeah,
all you had to do was ask because Germany was so hurting for money during that after World War One,
yep,
1919
yep,
to 1930. They were really hurting.
yep. And it impacted when we're going to be talking a bit about the Lignos pistol shortly, and that has an impact on the materials they used in those pistols too.
Oh,
You know,
sure, sure,
sure. And but the whole thing with the fakery is, I mean, I think often people walk into it. They want it to be true.
right,
And
right.
that's the collector's that's the big flaw in collectors, and they say, well, I know they didn't make any Lugers with pearlite grips. I know that, but they might have made a few for like elite Nazis. We don't know. I mean, they
Yeah,
made hundreds of thousands of these. They might have made a few. I mean, it makes sense. You go into Berchtesgaden, you got to have something nice for the Fuhrer.
yeah. Oh,
And
you find PPKs that are engraved.
yeah,
Um, uh, the P-38 looks more like a military type weapon in the sense
yeah,
that Lugers quit being made in 42, 43 time frame. And it's just, I know there were weird stuff that came out of the factories. Why wouldn't it? They made 2 million Lugers with
why not?
how many, five, six companies that made them. So I
Well,
don't know.
Ed, look at that Russian Luger that we've discussed
Yeah,
with reversed N proof mark. I mean, I mean, it's not a because it's not a fake because what are they faking? It,
right.
it's one of those things. It's a conundrum. It's it's a mystery. I mean, eventually, maybe we'll get more information
Yeah,
potentially, and
yeah.
we'll be able to make an intelligent, comment about it. But right now, I mean, there are three of them. It's
Well, and
either
there's fake. The people who do fakes, they know that so much information was destroyed during the war,
right,
and it's been how many years? It's a long time since World War II. There aren't very many vets. If there aren't very
yeah.
many vets, it's just so many years.
And there are things, where there are a few collecting areas that I like. I mean, believe no, someone, the stock pistols are another one because it has never generated the level of fakery that Lugas have.
Yeah, yeah,
And I can go to a gun show and buy a France stock pistol with a and it's not faked. I mean, if you're gonna fake, you get a Luger, you fake a Luger and make some money on it.
yeah, yeah. And
But
that's just it, isn't it? Oh, and it's also like you said, for fun. I've had friends that have put serial numbers onto blank Lugers because they were making up a fantasy piece. And I worry about that they've got that same serial number anyway. It just makes it look more authentic.
what
So,
happens? Let me ask you this. Okay, let's just assume this is a real honest to God Navy Luger. And the side plate, let's say, doesn't have a serial number.
yeah,
Now, I go out to gun shows and I find a shooter Luger with the right serial number and all the other marks inside are correct and all that. I put it on. I made a fake.
yeah, I know. I've got lots of Luger parts because I've
Ooh.
always liked them. I've built up Lugers
Yeah,
and I mean, like a rear toggle pin. Well, I know that they didn't always have them during whatever year, but they do. And I need a 13 and I have a 13. Am I
yeah,
promoting fakery? I guess
yep,
I am in some ways. Or am
yeah.
I restoring when you talk about cars getting restored? But guns are really funny about it. It's like coins,
Yeah.
silver coins, don't clean them. Well, when I was younger, I remember them saying you could clean them because
Yep.
things change over years, but still,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I
I
mean,
don't
it's
know what
like,
to say.
art restoration. I mean, they say don't do anything that can't be completely reversed,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
makes sense. I had a moment of clarity on the Still website. I had gotten an early Browning something, and I got it reasonably cheaply, and I posted it, and the grip was broken. I mean, it's like a hunk out of it. And somebody said to me, Ed, I know you. You're not going to replace that grip because that's an honest wear. And I said, you're right. That's the history of the gun. I wouldn't think about changing it. And it's the same thing. People get all exercised about import marks,
sure.
and I mean, unless it's, ghastly and ugly, that's part of the life of the gun. I mean, the
I
gun when it
agree.
comes to the assembly line doesn't have a unit mark, I mean, things like that, don't really bother me very much.
Yeah.
And
No, I agree with you. Now, a couple collectors I know that help teach me, they talk about grips, firing pins, and I'm speaking mostly of Lugers because everything's numbered, but grips and firing pins are liable to get broken, so they're liable to be replaced. And I don't know. I mean, I have some that I call low-end collectors, which means that I shoot them, and but yet if I replace the firing pin, I mean, I don't know. I don't see anything wrong with it, but I understand when people get excited about it.
I think the bottom line, I think, is that when you sell something, you honestly represent it.
Yeah,
And you say,
and
I had
true.
this thing,
Yes,
I think X, Y, and Z. And by the way, um, these are not the original grips that it came with. I've got the grips here. You can have them,
Yeah,
but and and then it's up to the other person to make a decision.
I agree with you. Yeah. And I've downplayed items that I'm selling rather than upselling them because
Yeah.
I hate returns. I really do. So I would rather somebody know about the grips and the firing pin as examples. So
Mhm.
um no, I agree with you. But
Yeah.
I think we're running out of time. So
Okay. This was fascinating. I mean, I think the world of fakes is, I mean, I got to tell you, if I were going to be a bad guy, I would be an art forger. I would be.
yeah.
I mean, there's something about it that is just very sort of attractive. I will, if you wish, I can get my fakes paper into decent form, and if you want to put it on you want to link it in some way, we can do that.
Yeah, I don't know how that's done on YouTube, but
Okay.
we'll see, and it's easy enough to share it on the forums.
Yes, can do
Okay,
certainly do
I
that.
will let you go, and I will send you another link in just a minute.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
You take
Bye-bye.